Hey Wanderers,
I'm Amanda.
and I'm Ron.
Welcome to Wanderlust.
This is Military Chatter.
This is our weekly chat where we talk about what our life is like in the military. And we are wrapping up what some of the duties are of being an Air Force chaplain. We've been going through the AFI. We've talked about the spiritual aspect.
We talked about religious support. So the first two episodes were our first core capability, which is religious support, which is, as we talked about, is a long list of things that the chaplain, as part of the chaplain corps, helps make sure happens to support airmen.
So we're going to talk about number 2 tonight, which is advise leadership. So what falls under all of that?
So religious support is our first core capability, and we're going to make sure all those things happen. The other part that we bring is that we are an advisor to leadership. And so remember, we talked about that it's the commander's responsibility to make sure there's a religious program, a religious aspect to support airmen because of the First Amendment right of freedom of religion. So this other part that chaplains do, and with chaplain corps, so religious affairs airmen as well, is we advise leadership. And what we're going to do is we're going to advise them on all matters pertaining to religion.
Okay.
So we are the subject matter expert when it comes to religion and spirituality. So what does that mean? It means we're the principal advisors to the spiritual domain.
So that's what it says in the AFI.
Mm-hmm.
Say it again.
Principal advisors to the spiritual domain.
Okay. What does that practically look like?
So the first is that we're going to advise on the potential impact of religion at all levels.
Potential impact of religion, but I don't think I know what that means.
So great example. We're in right now in the spiritual season of Ramadan.
Okay.
For our Muslim brothers and sisters. That means that from sunup to sundown, they don't drink and they don't eat. For an office worker, not a big deal. For somebody working on the flight line in Turkey in the middle of summer, that's a huge deal.
Yes.
So we advise the commander to say, hey sir, Ramadan is coming up. And we have access to be able to know, is there a significant Muslim population? Yes, there is. Sir, you need to think about, and we need to be game planning, how do we mitigate this? How do we take care of these people? Do we work with them, and are they comfortable with? We put them on the night shift. As the chaplain corps, we advise leadership, because if the commander himself is not Muslim, he's not thinking about this. He doesn't waste a lot of brain power.
So it doesn't matter the religious, in that sense, it doesn't matter the religion or non-religion of the commander. You're bringing him things that affect everybody anyway, and it has nothing to do with
absolutely
the commander's perspective.
So we are also going to keep them informed of the religious, ethical, morale, and moral health of the unit. So if we're doing our unit visitation, we have a unique finger on the pulse of the unit.
So can you give me an example of what you can share with a commander that does not violate confidentiality?
We're talking about here in a minute.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So we will use a maintenance squadron that does shift work.
Okay.
And new commander comes in and says, we're going to totally change how we do shifts. And chaplain RST is going in there, and we're hearing rumblings from a lot of airmen that this is just destroying their lives for whatever reason. It could be any number of reasons, but the predominant what we're hearing, that may not be making it back up through supervisors to first sergeants, to the superintendent, to the commander. And the commander may think, hey, everything's going great, but in reality, down below it's not. So we as the chaplain corps can go to them. I'm not going to say Airman Snuffy said, your policy sucks, sir or ma'am.
Right.
But I'm going to say, sir, talking with a lot of people, and this seems to be having a negative impact on their families. You may want to look at what this policy is doing.
Okay, so what else are we advising?
So we advise on public religious events. So
okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. So we are that subject matter expert. Hey, chaplain, we want we want to do something on this day because
Easter.
it's this. Yeah, Easter's coming. I want to do this. Sir, as the commander, I don't think it's proper for you to take on that role. And so we help establish good left and right boundaries on things. A memorial service. We're going to take the lead on that because most commanders haven't put together a memorial service, thank goodness. That's our lane. We're the subject matter experts. So I think we should do this, that. If you do this, then we probably, so we're going to advise them on that. We're going to, help when just any kind of public religious thing, we're gonna have a hand in that and advise. We're going to advise on religious accommodation. So, and this is a hot topic right now, as
Religious accommodation. So
Yeah.
that means accommodating other religions, or accommodating religions in general.
accommodating aspects of religion.
Okay.
So,
I need an example.
A new Arab wants to wear is Muslim and wants to wear hijab. They're going to make a religious accommodation request to be able to wear that because it's not a standard uniform item. That's actually become much more common, and so we're pretty good at those. But immunizations, they may have a religious objection to an immunization. We're gonna play part of that. Here's the key thing, and notice that this started with that we advise.
Right.
Remember, chaplains do not have any command authority. I don't make any decision. I will give my advisement. And mine will be one of many voices that will be part of that. So we'll use a conscientious objector as a great example. A chaplain is going to do an interview, and basically my job is to say that this is a sincerely held religious belief. That's
it.
That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying whether it's good or bad. I'm not saying whether or not they can still do their job being a conscientious objector. I'm going to say this is a sincerely held religious belief, or it's not. And JA is going to weigh in. There's going to be several people.
JA.
The
JAG.
JAG,
The lawyers.
Judge Advocate General, the legal office. They're going to weigh in with their opinion. And all I'm going to say is this is sincerely held.
And then the commander takes in all of those advisors.
And the commander
and they make
decides.
the decision.
Chaplains advise, commanders command.
Okay. Then the last one is religious observances.
So that's more of an informational piece. We're back to that piece we were talking about that the commander doesn't realize that Ramadan's coming up and it's the middle of July. So in a lot of places where I've been, and in most places, the chaplain's going to be involved in whether it's the wing stand-up, the weekly staff meeting, and so usually what we'll bring to that is, sir, ma'am, here's what's coming up in the next couple of weeks that may have impact.
Right, and even if it doesn't, like, they need to know Ramadan's coming.
Right.
And then they could say, do we have a significant? And you can just be like, no, there's 2 airmen, here's what we're doing for them.
And
Like,
a lot of times what we'll say is, so we'll use, we just passed Beltane.
okay.
And we had an individual who is of that, and that is a pagan faith, who talked about what that was, it's May Day. That starts on sundown the night before and runs through that day. And we may say, here's some things that might be requested that you might see. Maybe nobody asked for anything, but don't be surprised if somebody says, hey, I'd like to take a day of leave because I want to go do these things, that sort of thing. When it comes to, especially like the Roman Catholic faith, there are days of obligation. So maybe an individual doesn't normally go to the daily mass, but this Thursday they're going to, because it's a day of obligation. They have a requirement by their religion to go. So we're going to make sure that they're up on all of those sorts of things, so that they're not caught. And we don't want somebody to come and say, hey, sir, I need to go over to chapel on my lunch, and they go, no, you're not going.
Right.
We've set them up.
Right.
By not saying, hey, for Roman Catholics, this day's a day of obligation. They're going to need to go to some sort of service, and here's what the chapel's offering.
Okay, so we talked about the 2 big things.
Mm-hmm.
Not any bigger than the other 2, but we just wanted to make sure we tack on a couple more duties that you guys have, or things that run along with the duties. So the one thing that you might know about chaplains, if you know anything about the military, is that they do casualty notifications. So they go with the commanders to notify somebody that there's been a casualty. So, I mean, I learned that from watching TV and movies, so.
Yeah, it's never a good day when a commander and a chaplain in full service dress show up at your front door. That's pretty much
Yeah,
the
I
worst
for
thing.
sure learned that, and I just thought, I just want to answer the door. Like, can you just ignore it if you don't answer
But yes,
the
the chaplain, specifically the chaplain, and this is not a chaplain corps, it can be a chaplain or a religious affairs airman, this is the chaplain. It may be part of the notification team, and almost always will be, because they're going to send more than one person, and if you're going to send 2 people, send the commander and the chaplain. And we're going to go with that commander to make that casualty or death notification. And so there's a couple different roles we have in that. So the first thing is the commander makes a notification. So even if the commander is, man, they're nervous, we can't take that off of them. But part of our job is leading up to that is often, even the most junior chaplain, once you've done one death notification, the next time you do it, you will probably be the most experienced person on the team. Because we don't, I mean, it's not a common thing. And
It's not a common thing for commanders, but
That's what I'm
over
saying.
your career,
Well, that's
you've
what I'm
done
saying.
quite a few.
It's not, for commanders, it's not.
Right.
And I hope that they never have to do one. I hope they go the whole career never doing one. So when we go out on that, the first thing we're doing is we're getting the commander ready. Answering
Right.
questions, and hey,
That makes sense.
here's some things that may happen. You know, that they probably will cry, but if they don't cry, they may be angry. They may not open the door.
Right.
They could be very sad. They could be mad at the Air Force, and you represent the Air Force.
Right.
You took
That's
my baby.
the thing that I think maybe I didn't realize, because when you see it on TV and you see it in movies, you almost always, the notification is happening to the spouse. Like, you're going to tell a spouse,
Yep.
This is what happens. But I have noticed throughout your career that a lot of times you are telling other family members.
Yeah,
You're not
because-
notifying the next of kin, like the direct next of
Right.
kin.
So because when you do notification, there's certain you list in your record of emergency data the people who need to be notified.
Oh, so you get to decide.
Mhm.
Who's on yours?
It's you and my parents, who are the ones who will get a visit from an Air Force officer.
Right, so let's use us as an example then, okay? So you're here,
Mhm.
and so somebody from our base would come and tell me, but your parents are in Arkansas. So they would have to call
So
the closest chaplain.
They would most likely call Little Rock to their casualty notification officer.
Right, and they would have to
They would
drive
dispatch a team.
2
and
hours.
we would be working to make sure that those notifications took place almost simultaneously. Because
Right, because they don't want to tell me, and then I start calling everybody.
it has the potential to be dangerous, because you may drive 3 hours out into the middle of the country and you get there and nobody's home.
Right.
And now you just have to case the house. I've done those and sit there till
Well,
someone
and then
comes
I
home.
know there's been at least one case where somebody was on an airplane and needed to be notified, and so it was literally like, we're just waiting for this person to land.
Absolutely.
Like, and so I don't know, the whole thing. I
So-
mean, it's never good news, so it's always bad.
And
but-
so yeah, I may go make a notification for someone I've never met.
Oh, I think the majority of the time
Yeah.
it's been people you've
Well,
never-
but I have no connection to, because they're at base X, way
Oh,
over here.
right. But their parents live here or live nearby.
So
and-
so I've got zero connection to these people, and so does the commander.
Right.
So because they're going to get the right grade commander, but it's not going to say, hey, I knew Johnny,
Right.
and here's what he was doing. It's
And
going to be,
he's a great guy. It's going to be, we just got this thing across our
Right.
desk. I mean, I realize it's not that sanitary, but.
yeah.
Okay, so that's the bad part. And I know I was saying, like, you've had to go and tell such and such and such and such, but I really don't know what that is or what all he's had to do. I didn't even know about the commander has to be the one to say it, because I just thought what I would ask you was, have you had to tell somebody, or does the commander do it? And before I even asked, you said the
Well,
commander
and so
has
let
to
me
do
talk
it.
about the second role. Kind of what we do is, so when we get there, the commander, their focus, and as it should be, is going to be on that person that they're telling, because, you know, if they're coming to tell you, they're going to knock at the door, and let's say Wesley answers, they're going to say, is Mrs. Feeser home? And Weston go, well, why? Would you
Well,
please
he
go?
wouldn't,
Well, but
Right.
somebody could have it. I know what's going on. Tell me what happened. Are you Mrs. Feaser?
Right.
And until you come, and then they're gonna. Maybe we come inside, and get to a place where they tell. Even though you may know exactly what's coming.
Oh, I'm gonna know for sure if there's a commander and a chaplain
Right.
at the door and you're not there.
But they're gonna do it in the proper way. The commander's focus is gonna be on you. To give you the news in the most straightforward way possible, what they're allowed to tell you. The chaplain's job, as that's happening, is I'm reading the room. Because maybe I show up and it's the middle of a family reunion.
Right.
So there's everybody else. Commander's focused on you. I'm reading the room. Who's getting visibly upset? Who's getting angry? Who stalked out to the back of the house?
As soon as you walk in.
Clearly mad. Because it's my job part of my job is to read that. Now, once the notifications have been made, then we may shift those roles, and I may move into pastoral role, and the commander's going to sort of step back. But we're a tag team there, and while one is focused on giving that bad news, what's going on? Who's reacting? And how are they reacting? Because grief does strange things to people.
So,
Hey Wanderers, it's Ron. Listen, we realized as we were editing this that we had gone way too long for one video. So we're going to stop the video here. We're going to pick up next week and just have a video that focuses on the confidentiality of a chaplain in religious affairs ceremony. So thanks. Hey Wanderers.
crap. Dude. Okay, I'm ready. I'm ready.
You're not.
Yeah, I am.
Wanderers.
This is Amanda.
And I'm Ron.
Wait, I need to say I'm Amanda.
Yeah.
Not this. Like I'm a reporter. Okay. Whoo.
The longest night of filming ever, y'all.
Okay, stop. Alexa just said. Okay. Phew. Okay. Stop. Don't laugh or look directly at my face. This is so dumb. Okay. Here we go.
Please include that.
Stop. I can hear you laughing. You're not helping. Okay. Shh. That was you that time.
Because you feel like...
I said, shh. That's what I said. Shh. Shh. Now stop.